Hello and welcome to the Completely Biased Podcast. Coming at you, not from a studio this time. We're back at the poker table. And sitting across from me is Trevor. Trevor, how you doing?
Pretty good. Really pumped for Star Wars tomorrow.
I know. We're both pumped for Star Wars tomorrow. And on our, really quick plug, on our other podcast, we're going to do a quick rundown of the new Star Wars movie, spoiler and non-spoiler reviews. I think Trevor wants to get in on that.
Yeah, I'll probably get in on it. I am not looking at anything until tomorrow at 7.
We're both seeing it on opening day, so on Friday is when it should come out. That little spoiler thing. But that's gonna be fun.
Oh, it was the longest day at work.
Yeah, follow Old School Movie Club if you are interested in that. But anyways, this is a sports podcast. None of that nerd crap. All right, let's move on. Today we're talking MLB because, like we were saying last week, once the two big deals happened, it was going to start being rapid fire. And that's exactly what happened. And you're more of an MLB expert for you, so I'll let you run the show here.
Yeah.
But we've got kind of this little rundown of everything that's happened. It's just it's actually a full sheet. And it's only been a few days.
I know. Well, we haven't recorded since Wednesday or Thursday of last week.
Yeah, Wednesday of last week.
But we knew as soon as Stanton got dealt, as soon as Ohtani got signed, it was over.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ohtani was the first domino to fall, and then Stanton, which is our first topic for today, is Stanton getting dealt to the Yankees, which is both of us thought they were out of it completely last week.
Well, was it last week he said, I want to go to the West Coast.
Yeah.
And then he changed his mind, all of a sudden he wants to go to only the contenders that were in the LCS. So Yankees, Astros, Cubs, and Dodgers. And all of a sudden the Yankees realized they were in it and were like, well, we've got tons and tons of money, so we'll take the whole dang contract. Yeah. And they gave up not a whole lot. I mean, they gave up Starlin Castro, who had a great year last year.
Starlin Castro is he's a star kind of level player. He's really, really good. But
he was phenomenal last year. But I mean
he's been good his whole career.
Yeah,
really.
He's not Giancarlo Stanton.
No. I'm just saying that's not a bad piece to get back in the trade.
No, it's not. Especially when you're dumping $300 million.
Exactly.
But so the Marlins really just started the fire sale. We'll get to more of that later. But I mean the Yankees now have Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton.
They have the two biggest freaks in all of baseball. Both players could probably play basketball. Both players
I could play defensive end, man.
Defensive end and football. They're both 6'7", 280 something.
Oh, they're huge.
Okay. So speaking of the Stanton and Judge for next year, between two players, if Stanton keeps healthy, between two players, they're gonna have 80 home runs at least.
Yeah, honestly, if he's not healthy, they could hit 80 home runs together.
At least. That's the low number. Because Judge had 50 something in his rookie
Judge
year?
had 49
and
I think Stanton had 59.
Yeah, so I mean that's 198.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And I mean their team is going to be stacked. They've got.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because you're more involved in the MLB season than I am. I kind of just I poke my head in every once in a while. I obviously did some research for this, but does Stanton to the Yankees make them the number one contender in the AL?
Oh yeah,
because they were already good last year in the playoffs last year, which they didn't think they were going to be.
Well, the thing is,
they were we have a young team.
It was supposed to be a rebuilding year.
It's like that. It's like the Cubs. It was like the Cubs a few years ago. The year before they went to the World Series.
Yeah.
Where they were this is supposed to be our rebuilding year, and then they were in the
NLCS. Yeah. It was very much the same. I think the Yankees will be in the World Series next year, as long as everybody's healthy. And
some valuable experience for Judge and the rest of the Yankees for playoff. Well, Stanton actually doesn't have really any playoff experience.
Yeah, I know. But in between Judge, Stanton, Didi Gregorius was unreal last year.
Didi, I mean, that's why they don't really lose anything this Starlin Castro thing. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily play the same position, but it's Didi's the guy that would be replacing Starlin.
Yeah, Didi was phenomenal, and he had a great postseason. They're bringing up this young guy they actually got from the Cubs in the Aroldis Chapman trade, Gleyber Torres. He's going to be a superstar. He can play second, third, or short. Didi's pretty much got shortstop locked down. Yeah. So he'll probably play second either to replace Castro or he'll play third base. And I mean, the Yankees could still make another move. So we've always got that. And they also have Gary Sanchez. I forgot to talk about him. Aaron Hicks in center field. He was great last year. Their outfield's
really, really good.
And they also have Brett Gardner and Jacoby Ellsbury.
And,
that's your bench.
When I was saying biggest freaks in baseball, yeah, they're both 6'7", but they're actually both really good athletes, too.
They're phenomenal.
Judge, I know, is really, really good defensively.
Yep.
I don't know much about Stanton defensively.
He's passable.
But, I mean, you can hide Judge, though. I mean, you can hide Stanton, though. Because he's the worst defensively of the three.
Right.
And you'll have that outfield offensively is just.
And you can always throw one of them in DH if you need to give them a day off in the field or whatever it is. So
I mean, you might just do that with Stanton anyways.
Yeah,
you play in the AL. You only play it in the interleague games. Maybe it'll play outfield.
They'll have a lot of they'll both play each corner spot just to kind of get some experience. Because come playoffs, when you go to the World Series and you have to play without a DH, I mean you're gonna have to have some practice in left.
That's what I'm saying. In their interleague games, maybe they'll work him in, and he's played outfield his whole career. It's not like he's going to forget everything.
Yeah. These are professional baseball players.
So sometimes I wonder. But anyways, I think that's enough about talking about the Yankees because, like we said, I think this makes them immediately a contender for the AL.
Yeah.
And probably favorites to make it the World Series.
They've got to be the favorites.
But I mean, in baseball, you never know what's going to happen because favorites, because
they change.
And our next team too is also in the AL.
Yep.
The next big free agent deal was also in the AL, and they still have the best player in baseball, and that's the Angels getting Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. My dad called it I think on Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving, before he released his teams or whatever. He's like, yeah, he's gonna go to the Angels. He wants to be on the West Coast near Japan. He doesn't want to be in a big market. And I was like, okay.
The Angels is a big market though, so I don't.
It's lesser than the Dodgers.
I know, but it's still the same city basically.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, all right, whatever. And he was like, yep.
If you wanted to be really close to Japan and really small market, just go to or not really small market, but go to Seattle or San Diego.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think the whole San Diego thing when we talked about the last podcast when his team they broke off relations, I think that hurt San Diego. But Shohei Ohtani, we talked about him a ton in the last podcast. He's as long as
and already a problem with foreign players because they're not in the fold all the time.
Right.
Because if there's a free agent, say coming from the Diamondbacks, just as a hypothetical, coming from the Diamondbacks, even though he's not with the Diamondbacks anymore as a free agent, there's still doctors always league doctors always looking at him, so they always know what's going on with him. Now with Shohei, he wasn't in the league beforehand, so he's got his own doctors, and they're probably keeping this stuff quiet.
Yeah.
But it came out with his arm problems.
Yeah.
And you told me about this, and I honestly had no idea about it, but I was kind of like, that's kind of the danger with foreign players. Sometimes you just don't know the whole story.
Yeah, it honestly is. He had a UCL injury in his elbow, so it's just a sprain, so it's not a big deal. But the fact that it came out a week and a half after he signed, now it's okay, what other problems are there?
Yeah, and maybe this is why he was like, okay, I'm ready to go now, because he had that sprain in his elbow, and he was like, if I end up having to get Tommy John surgery on something,
it would have hurt him in the future. And he might have to get Tommy John, which isn't a big deal because a lot of people have recovered from it really well. But it will set the Angels back another year, and he's locked in for a while, so it's not that big of a deal.
And he's young. I mean, it's not like they got Ohtani, they have to win right now,
right?
But I mean, you start if you're the Angels, you got to start thinking about because Pujols is old.
Pujols is almost he's basically done.
Pujols is basically done, and Trout. How long is he going to want to stay with you guys if you guys aren't trying to win?
Yeah,
if there's always
the move, but
if there's all this ineptitude about the Angels put all these players together all the time and then it just doesn't work out. How long does it take for Mike Trout to be like, okay, I'm out of here? I mean, I know he's locked into a contract, but
yeah, I'm with you. I really am. It just seems like anything that can go wrong will go wrong with the Angels. They get a great victory, and then a week later, arm problems. So I think he'll be fine as long as he doesn't.
And we don't know the extent of this arm problem stuff. Yeah, it's you said it was a sprain.
It's supposed to be minor. The only concern is he might have to get Tommy John in the future if he does further damage it.
But I mean, if he just take a take a few months break. They're not, like I said, he's 22 years old. There's no rush for him to start playing so they can make the playoffs. Even if he was older, baseball is a long season. Yeah. He could rest the first half of the season and then come back and then still be ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah. It's just, I just kind of find it funny with the whole Angels thing.
Yeah, it is funny. What do you think if Ohtani does come back? This is another hypothetical question for you. If Ohtani does come back and is every bit as good as people say he's going to be, like next Babe Ruth and stuff, do you think the Angels can make the playoffs? Does one player really make that big of a slide? I
don't think he would make that much of a difference on a team that didn't have Mike Trout. But Mike Trout is now has somebody who can hit him in to score runs, and he has not had that. I mean, Pujols had I think 30 home runs, but his offense was just bad overall. The Angels they just should be better than they are, and they always underperform, and that's my biggest concern.
So, because it's not Trout, because his WAR is always near the top.
Yep.
So what is with the Angels that makes them always underperform? Is it like the management?
I've always thought Mike Scioscia
coaching
needs to go. Yeah, I've always thought their manager needs to go. I thought that since the whole Josh Hamilton, Vernon Wells in 2010.
When they were we're going to win it all now.
And they couldn't get it going. Yeah. And they got Zach Greinke and everything. It's like, if you can't win with that team, I don't know what in the world you expect from this. And, I mean, nobody really cares about him anymore, given that the Dodgers have been, in the NLCS 2 straight years.
If I had to choose between what LA team to root for, though, I'd definitely root for the Angels.
I'd root for the Angels, too.
Because Dodgers are, Diamondbacks rivals. I don't like any LA team, but I would still choose the Angels. Anyways, that's enough about Shohei Ohtani. He's 22 years old. Give him a break. He'll if he's. I'm actually kind of curious to see. We kind of talked about this last week. If he doesn't perform immediately, is he going to be able to handle that kind of?
Yeah,
it's not even if he was
it's really unfair.
Even if he was in a tiny market.
He's going to get publicity no matter where.
No matter where he's at, he's going to be the top story on ESPN. If he does he's going to have if he has one game that he's he allowed 8 runs and went 0 for 4,
right?
Or 0 for 3 or however long he was in the game.
I think the thing is, with these new guys that come over from international players, they always tend to have really good starts. I feel like so. I don't think that's going to actually happen. I mean, Kenta Maeda for the Dodgers had a great start to his career. He started off 8-0. Masahiro Tanaka started off 8-0. It just seems like these guys they come in with new stuff and pitchers haven't seen.
The Dodgers guy had a pretty bad start. He was getting kind of blasted for it. I can't remember his name. He was a little bit bigger.
Oh, Ryu.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to pronounce his first name.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but yes, I got you.
I mean, I'm not saying that. I was just posing that hypothetical. Yeah. If he does underperform, I wonder how badly people will blast him for it, which is unfair. All right. So the next big thing we're talking about is Marcell Ozuna. Cardinals trade, Marlins dumping salary, acquiring prospects. Because you had this was a low thing on this list.
It was a rumor when I made the list, and then about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, he got
You
traded.
Put it all the way up to the top on the free agent deals, or not the free agent deals, but the trade.
Yeah, Marcell Ozuna is a phenomenal player. The Marlins really are just dumping salary, trying to get prospects. I mean, they're doing what the Cubs did, what the White Sox are doing right now, what the Astros did. It's just them.
Do you think this is smart by Jeter, though?
There's such a small market, I feel like you have to do it. And Ozuna's going to leave you at the end of next year anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but they already don't make money. If you have no star power, because Stanton's gone now, Ozuna's gone now. If you have no star power there, who's going to come to the games? There was no one coming to the games anyways.
Right. Yeah, I think it's kind of hard because you did have him for at least another year, which I probably would have waited until the trade deadline.
Wait until the trade deadline and go trade him to a team that's making a run.
But he also, last year he almost doubled his RBI. He had 124 RBIs.
Maybe it's
37 home runs.
Trade him away before people figure out it's a flash in the pan thing.
Yeah. I mean, he had the best year of his career by far. They got great value for him.